15 something years later, and I still play it on a regular basis. I just knew the intro and the outro was catchy as fuck. Many people don't like them, but we do, so we're classic for this. Obviously,
this was the absolute peak deathcore. We're gonna finish shows with this and just leave everyone blown away going home.
Let's go to a more simple song. This
Right,
one doesn't need that much explanation, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just an old school All Shall Perish song, and it just doesn't get that many views. Kind of mid, late. I'm actually not sure where it is on the album. 15 something years later, and I still play it on a regular basis. Didn't get the appreciation I think it should from that album.
Did we see this live? I feel like we saw this live once, didn't we? Did we see All Shall Perish like twice?
It was so long ago, dude. For me, All Shall Perish and Acacia's Strain, if we've seen them, I don't remember. Those are the two bands I don't think we've seen. And if we have, I don't remember them.
I thought we saw All Shall Perish at Heavy T.O. at some point. Was it Heavy T.O.? I don't know. I think it was around the same time.
If we did, it might have been before I got into them, which is hard to believe because I was listening to them in like grade 11. So I don't know. It's one of those songs I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about. I think the only thing I would say is that it's a classic song for us where it's long. It goes a lot of places. It has that story feel to it. The lyrics matter.
I mean, was this?
It's a fade in and a fade out that will get you hooked as usual. And
I think All Shall Perish was a pretty big band for a moment though, right? Like they
were like, it was kind of like Job for Cowboy. I think All Shall Perish was just a little bit below them at the peak of like deathcore stuff back then, or whatever the fucking genre they called it. Yeah, like this song, it's one of those songs where like, again, you listen to an album from back then it was CDs. Back then I had this CD and I just played it in my fucking car. So again, I never really knew what the song's name was. I just knew the intro and the outro was catchy as fuck. So now with Spotify and stuff, I'm always gunning for that intro and outro sound, and then you get really hooked on the middle and the meat of the song, right? And we're classic for this. Obviously, we're realizing this as we do this podcast. That these songs are just so typical for us, where they're long, they're storytelling, they have different ebbs and flows to them, and this is one of them. And for some reason, these kind of songs get underappreciated. I guess maybe people don't like them, but we do. So
yeah, people just like one kind of mood. It's the ebb and flow of like the whole thing.
We like the story of it, man. We like that. We thoroughly enjoy it.
Going for an adventure on the song itself.
But it's a classic thing where like this song wouldn't have mattered to me at all. Probably for the first probably 50 times I heard it. I just played a CD over and over in my car, and then it just sunk into my soul. And 15 whatever years later, I'm playing it all. I play the song all the time. So it's one of those random songs. I just like it pops in my head. I'm gonna drive home, and I'm putting it on. Let's go.
The best kind of music that we have does that, where it's like it ages like wine, right? Like
out of nowhere, it pops in your head.
Yeah,
you're literally in the middle of work. It's like a 15-year-old song. You're like, I want to play this.
It takes it like the first time you hear it, you're kind of like whatever, and the second time, like the stuff that kind of creeps up on you over time, and just like the more you hear it, the better it gets.
To be fair, it's also a good sound system song, which I tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah,
if you have a good sound system in your car, this is a song you want to play on it. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. All Shall Perish. The past will haunt us both.
I fucking love it, man.
Sense of familiar fragrance, seeming
one of those songs, man. You know? You think it's over there, right?
So like, I actually never realized this. Actually, the ending lyrics is "We can't keep dancing all night." She says, "This is the final song. We can't keep dancing all night long." Obviously, that was just plugged in there to be played live, right?
Yeah.
Because the song's so long and it's like, it's dragged on. So it was designed to be, that little bit at the end was designed to be like, okay, we're gonna finish shows with this and just leave everyone blown away going home.
Yeah.
Just a storytelling song, obviously.
It's super. It's a classic, like a quintessential, like everything about that, especially for the time. Like it's exactly like what metal was at that time.
But everyone know, like a lot of these songs, like the deathcore stuff like this that we do, you go into comments and you keep seeing like this was the absolute peak deathcore. This is the peak. Also Perish, Job for Cowboy, Spies Icon. This was the peak, man, for sure.
This was an era for music, and like you can definitely
100%.
Yeah, tell me that
So
was the
good.
sweet spot for metal. Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah.
Boom.
First one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Like
it's so
these
good, man.
years were fucking phenomenal. Yeah, it was just so much more heavy. Like it was all just that. Like every direction too. Like death metal was just kind of pushing these kinds of directions, and like yeah, it was.
Well, technology hadn't quite taken over the instruments yet.
Yeah, it's
So it's like these guys were at like the peak
was-
of like just mashing the instruments
right,
on
but
their own.
maybe it's like the recordings and like where everything was still clean, right? Like nothing was muddy anymore. Like
Right, the recording was mint,
yeah,
but like there's no bullshit on the instruments quite yet.
like,
You know what I mean?
It wasn't overly drowned out by a million other things going on, or like,
Yeah.
or like washed out by like overproducing or something like that. Like it was like music from this time and these albums like were very like if the comments collapsed like too like there's a sound to these albums. You know what I mean? Like there's a specific way that things sounded when it was recorded at this point in time.
Things just clicked. Things just clicked for metal in those years, man.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, they just clicked all at once, and we just got a wave of these bands, man. And it was, that's why we have this channel.
Yeah. These are classics, man. That's a good place to go through from All Shall Perish. I think this is a good transition, actually. So now let's get into Car Bomb.
How do you transition to Car Bomb?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Here comes a wrench in the system. These guys. I love these guys so much. Car Bomb. How do you not love these guys? If you know them, you probably know this one, but worth checking out either way. They are one of the most underrated bands for how original and how creative they really are. God, I love these guys so much. They're coming up next. Lower the Blade. Absolute banger. Maybe the best breakdown of all time. So saith me. Tell me I'm wrong. Check it out. It's coming up next. Stay tuned.